All right, hey, this is Act 2 of the podcast. We're getting right back into it. If you missed Act 1, go back and listen to that thing. Otherwise, this isn't going to make any sense. Okay, see ya. Jeremy writes, small mom and pop stations like Q100 are great, but sadly, they're not the norm anymore. Every format has such a regimented playlist that sucks all of the personality out of a station. Correct. So whether or not that can ever happen again, I don't know. Q100 10 years ago, 11 years ago, got into that realm of creating the radio station. 0 professional radio people on that station. I'm the first person on that station, on the air, who actually comes from a background of radio. Everybody else there was like people handpicked off the street. Not kidding. I take that back. The Roadrunner, it has radio experience, but the rest of the staff, no. Greg's Take writes, last time I turned on a car radio, a woman host said, young ladies, please quit trying to stop your period with a vacuum cleaner. I turned it off, and I didn't turn it back on. Wait a minute. I would have kept it on. Are you kidding me? That sounds like an interesting bit of language there. Women are trying to stop their periods with a vacuum cleaner? Fuck, I want to investigate that now, Greg. All right. I hate to do this, but I need to interrupt the fun because I have to go use the boys' room. You can stay here and hang out with the dogs for a minute, and I will be back. How does that sound? I appreciate you guys being here so much. Thank you. I'll be back. Sorry about the volume on there. All right, welcome back. Apparently, people have been vandalizing people's, what do you call it? Cybertrucks. Cybertrucks or any Tesla product. Bummer for our pal Freebeer, because in this past year, he bought a Tesla Plaid. Those are great cars. Well, now that's what's happening. People hate Elon Musk. This is ridiculous. So then they walk up to like a Tesla and they'll destroy it or some shit like that. Stevie says, LOL, the subreddit Cyberstuck has some great photos of them. Now, all right, now I got to ask Stevie this question. If a Tesla is damaged, do you support that? Because that's ridiculous. You can't possibly think that that is a good thing. She's saying, yes, fuck Elon. Okay. Yeah, but these are people who've purchased them. You know, that's their property. They might not even support Elon Musk. They may have owned the merchandise before Elon, you know, kind of went the route that he did. She writes, they support Elon. Fuck them too. Yeah, I don't know. This is a perfect example. This is an opportunity for me to again stand out as being like my own thing. If anyone ever tries to label me as one thing or another, as a Democrat, as a Republican, I am a absolute lone wolf. There is no one like me. No one. If you're a person like Stevie who says, I'm happy that people's products are merchandise is being destroyed, and good on the people who did it, that is ridiculous. That is an absurd point of view. Oh my God. That is as bad as anything. She writes that she supports Luigi too. Come on. You can't possibly support Luigi. My God. Nick points out what I tried to, and she's not listening. Most of these Teslas were bought before Elon was a thing in politics. Stupid libs forget that Tesla was at the forefront of their green pipe dream. More than one show audience member is Team Luigi. So is Rebecca. They support the murderer. Holy shit, what a mixed bag of people we have here. Cole says they're trying to support the planet and getting their property destroyed for it. Jeremy says, hashtag I'm with Rebecca. Stevie says, free the Menendez brothers. I don't know if that one's going to happen, by the way. I think that one is kind of like run out of steam. Well, anyway, people are destroying. The only one that I want destroyed is Free Beers. Free Beer, I hope someone actually destroys his vehicle. Except my hope is that he's in it when they do it, and they do it with about 900 pounds of TNT. That's what I'm hoping for. That, I think, is actually advantageous for everyone on the planet. Everyone should agree with me that there is only one Tesla that should be destroyed. Free Beers with him in it. That needs to happen. I'm not going to lie. If that happened, I'm going to pump my fist.
The FBI launching an investigation into a string of attacks on Tesla vehicles, charging stations, and showrooms. In the case of several cars on fire in Las Vegas, the FBI says this could be considered an act of domestic terrorism. These attacks happening across the country, including here in West.
This makes Stevie moist.
Michigan. I spoke with one man who says someone wrote a hateful message on his Cybertruck, and the truck caught it all on camera.
Look at. It says resist on the front of the Tesla dealership.
Tesla owners across the country have been complaining about their cars being vandalized recently, including the Grand Rapids owner of this Cybertruck, who asked that we not show his face or use his name.
We're out with my friends having dinner and drinks, and come out to the vehicle with the message on the window.
With growing controversy over Elon Musk and his ties to the White House, Tesla vehicles and entire showrooms being targeted.
There was people around the truck and taking photos, and a lot of people laughing. It was very disappointing.
It said, fuck off, Nazi.
And frustrating.
What was supposed to be a fun night out changed after finding a hateful message written on his passenger side window, including the word Nazi and another four-letter word.
Okay, I guess it wasn't permanent.
The person who did it probably didn't know there are cameras all over this car.
The friends that I was with were embarrassed about it.
The Tesla owner says he ordered the Cybertruck 4 years ago, well before the presidential election.
It's closer to $100,000. I think he has the potential to give us a glimpse of the future.
But he probably never saw this coming.
Daily, I do get a lot of middle fingers. It does not bother me as much when I'm by myself, but when we have kids inside the car, it's kind of a disappointing a little bit and sad.
He did not share his political views and says it really shouldn't matter.
Everyone works hard for what they have, and regardless of their political views, we should respect that. I'm not going to let
No, Stevie says burn it to the ground.
People tell me what I should buy or not buy.
That Cybertruck owner.
I like how he
telling us
hid his identity, and there's probably only like 5 people in the whole area that has one of these.
cost of the damage is insignificant, but that he feels violated and humiliated. Now, we chose not to show her face, but he does plan to turn over that video to police, clearly showing the woman who rode on his car.
All right, so that's it. I think that this could really hurt that company. I mean, just Musk being Musk, you know. I would love to have a Tesla. That would be great. Those are great cars, without a doubt. But I won't buy. I would never dream of buying one because all of you morons, you idiots, and you're representing all of the other idiots. You would fuck up my car. You know? I don't want that. Those are fantastic vehicles. I like Nick's point that you were loving it when he was like leading the charge on green energy or whatever, and now you want them to burn. Corey says extremists on both sides should be shunned or ignored and shunned. Absolutely. Aram says, are they practical in Michigan? Doesn't it get too cold? I don't think they're practical anywhere, frankly. I think they're horribly impractical. I just like them. I just like the thought of it. But I don't have that type of disposable income that I can just go buy something that I don't need. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Hybrids are the way to go. Corey says similar. I'd rather have a Honda plug-in hybrid. Hey, I don't know about the plug-in hybrids. How does that even... I don't know a thing about them. I've always had the ones that kind of just charge as you're driving. All right. Cole writes, lefties calling everyone Nazis are spray painting swastikas on Teslas and burning them. Seems like they're the ones acting like Nazis. Yeah, I don't get it. Rebecca says, I'd be embarrassed to have a friend with a swastika. That's a great way to describe it, though. A swastika. That's fantastic. Jeremy writes, hey, morons, how is this any different than when y'all were laughing at people who were burning their Nike shoes? They've already bought the car. It does nothing. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is simply a way for warmongers like Stevie and Rebecca to flex their uteruses and smear their period blood on windows of these vehicles. That's what we have here. They are period blood smears who want nothing more than these people who work very hard for their vehicles to have to deal with this. Stevie writes, oh, what a good idea. You could write, this was painted with my period blood. Enjoy. Yeah, and you've got your, what's the name of that guy on TV? He's dead now. Who would, he'd paint the trees on the TV and he had the big afro. Jack Palance, is that his name? Ben Simon? Bob Ross. Yes, Bob Ross. You can pretend that your vagina is the palate and just scoop out your ute meat and just smear it right on the window a la Bob Ross. And then don't even get me started about Luigi. You sick bitch. What the fuck is wrong with you? This sweet family man hired to do a job and run that company did it expertly. Expertly. United Health. Some of you forget that the only way insurance companies work is if a few get denied. Otherwise, they can't pay for the pregnancy for you, idiot. God. It's for the greater good. I want more denials. I think that more denials should take place so that the rest of us get coverage. Corey says Luigi is a coward. Aram said, is Stevie still invited to the wedding? What if someone there has a Tesla? Well, she's not invited to the wedding yet, but she's on the list for seat fillers if we, in fact, need them for the June 6th wedding. Luigi is a coward. It does not matter your reasoning. If you shoot someone unarmed in the back of the middle of the street, you are a coward. Well, in the case of war, that's one thing. I mean, I don't know shit about anything. But a guy just starting out his day, having a cup of coffee and going into his speak at his conference for his industry, walking down the street in broad daylight, gets shot in the back. That's pretty fucked up. And 2 people on this show love Luigi. They would have sex with him. That's what I want to know. Stevie and Rebecca, would you have sex with Luigi? Are you only doing this because he's a handsome devil? And there is no question. He is a handsome devil. My sweet daughter is a Luigi fan. I think she might even be supportive of Tesla burning. Her being a young, idealistic college student. I think that if you were to go to the wedding, you possibly could share some viewpoints. Stevie says that picture of his ankles in shackles. Oh, yes. Rebecca says, sure, why not? My God. You are sick women is what you are. You are sick, horrible human beings. This is, I have a video clip to share. It's an audio clip, but you can see faces in it. And boy, do I love this story. David Webb is a Fox Nation host, and he's on Sirius XM. He was having a point-counterpoint discussion with CNN's Areva Martin. She starts talking about how David Webb takes advantage of his white privilege. She's going down that road in this discussion. And she's got a set of things that she's going to say to him based on that. You have white privilege. I guess she was joining David Webb on his Sirius XM show. The problem is he's black. Uh-oh. So I'm going to play that audio for you. This is that moment.
I qualified to be in each one. I never considered my color the issue. I considered my qualifications the issue.
Well, David, that's a whole nother long conversation about white privilege and things that you have the privilege of doing that people of color don't have the privilege of.
How do I
And to
have
answer
the privilege of white privilege?
David, by virtue of being a white male, you have white privilege. This whole long conversation, I don't have time to get into it.
Areva, I hate to break it to
You have to
you,
invite-
but you should have been better prepped. I'm black.
Okay, then I stand.
See, you went to
corrected.
white privilege. This is the falsehood in this. You went immediately with an assumption. Your people, obviously, or you didn't,
They
who
gave you
started
wrong
out in rock
information.
radio in Boston, who crossed the paths into hip hop, rebuilding one of the greatest black stations in America, and went on to work for Fox News, where I'm told apparently blacks aren't supposed to work, but yet you come with this assumption and you go to white privilege. That's actually
let me correct-
insulting.
It is, and I apologize because my people gave me wrong information.
Privilege thing is insulting.
David, can I apologize and correct the record? I want to apologize. I was given wrong information about you, and I apologize.
But
for
based
that.
on my
But
color, you were going to something that I was part of. And just to add to it, my family background is white, black, Indian, Arawak, Irish, Scottish. I mean, it's so diverse. I'm like the UN when it comes to this. And this is part of the problem with driving a narrative around a construct like white privilege. Privilege is one thing. We're applied wealth, economy, various social factors, but not necessarily determined by color of skin.
Okay. What a amazingly one-sided, fantastic moment that is. Every bit of that was perfect, including her apology. She ate that punch and kept going. After hearing it, though, I wish that people on the left would quit trying to make me want to go to the right. I don't want to do that. I consider myself, if you could, on a spectrum, put me at left of center. Culturally liberal, fiscally Republican. And it's getting more and more difficult to stay the way I am based on the idiocies that take place in the world. Time and time again, morons show their asses. Him explaining the fallacy of white privilege is pretty strong. And to use it with an example of her accusing him of taking advantage of his white privilege, she doesn't even fucking know the guy's black. So in the last 10 minutes, we've had that moment. The hors d'oeuvre for that was Stevie and Rebecca saying, burn all Teslas and free Luigi. Oh my God. This is incredible. Shit. That moment when he says, hey, he was like confused at first. If I'm him and I realize that she's thinking I'm white, I get giddy at that. I'm like, oh my God, you are so busted. Holy cow.
Is the issue.
Well, David, you know, that's a whole nother long conversation about white privilege and things that you have the privilege of doing that people of color don't have the privilege of.
How do I have the privilege of white privilege?
David, by virtue of being a white male, you have white privilege.
She thinks she's very smart with, well, you're a white male, you have white privilege. Do I have to explain this to you?
This whole long conversation, I don't have time to get into it.
Areva, I hate to break it to you, but you should have been better prepped. I'm black.
Okay, then I...
Come on, Areva. He did a good job, too, because she could have just said, I made a mistake. and then still maintain that point of view. But he then follows up with, he kind of like stopped down using that as an example to illustrate the mistake and how dangerous that can be. Greg's take, Greg just discovered the show yesterday. Now, and then he followed the show. He subscribed to the show. He then gifted a subscription to another person. Very sweet of you. And he's very astute in the chat and done a good job in carrying the conversation. He writes, the modern flavor of liberalism is embarrassing to the human species. She's saying by virtue of being born, you're born into self-shame. And I guess that people would feel that way, that white people should feel shame. I guess some people who might be a little bit more extreme with that. I tend to believe, though, that most people who are liberals do not necessarily feel wholeheartedly on that. I'm somewhere in the mix, and my position moves to some degree or another based on information obtained over time. I don't think that a white person can say that black people have no disadvantages or black people have less opportunities or black people have the same opportunities as white people. I don't believe that. That's not true. Black people earn less. They're more likely to have less opportunities that a white person has. I do believe that. So it's slippery because on one hand, that I think is true. And on the other hand, I don't think that a person should be chosen over if you have an underqualified black guy trying to take a job from a qualified white guy. I don't think black guy should get that job because of his skin color. It's very tricky, not easily solved. I don't have the answer. That's just how I feel. Jeremy kind of agrees. He says, I do believe that there is some white privilege. I think my skin color does make it easier to do some things, but it's not the cause of everything that goes haywire. It doesn't always apply as a blanket statement. I think that a lot of black people would argue that. I think that generally there are less opportunities. I think generally there are preconceived notions about black people. And it goes not anything that can be solved or resolved or put a fine point on with just a couple of comments on a podcast. Starman says, I believe that there are more black people out there with more money than I have. So if I have the privilege, where's my check? Yeah, I don't know if it necessarily means financial. All right. What was I going to do? Oh. The realtor of choice on the Eric Zane Show podcast is Adam Kasari. Race car driver by night, realtor by day. You'll be able to see him at Berlin Raceway this year driving the super modified Eric Zane Show podcast car on the roof of the vehicle when we go to Berlin Raceway. We'll be rooting for Adam Kasari. If you're thinking about buying a home, tap the resource that is Adam Kasari at 616-914-4061. If you are in West Michigan, this is who I'd like you to call. 616-914-4061. Get started today, whether you're looking to sell or you are looking to buy. Adam will do a bang-up job for you. There are a lot of realtors that exist in the world, but I'm asking you to call one in West Michigan. That is Adam. 616-914-4061. Call today or whenever. When it comes to getting your taxes done, the tax deadline is fast approaching. April 15th. There's still time for you. There will be time for you up until the last minute to get your taxes done, no matter where you are in America. Tag Accounting. Call Tag at 616-301-9516, based in West Michigan. But again, they can do your taxes from no matter where you are. You'll upload your documents via their online portal. You'll get a date and time that your taxes are going to be done. Good idea to have your phone by you during that time period. In case there's any questions about your return, you do not need to be in person. That's why they're able to do this remotely from anywhere in the U.S. 616-301-9516. Put the tax hobbit to work today. All right. Don't burn Cybertrucks. Eminem is pissed. There was a guy who worked with Eminem as like a sound engineer. He'd be the guy that would like sit behind the control board on the other side of the glass. And he might like edit the music or, you know, make it sound a certain way. And I think he became frustrated with Eminem. He worked with the guy for 14 years. Somewhere down the road, the relationship soured. And the guy who was the engineer ended up leaving Eminem's. He has a studio in an area of Michigan known as Ferndale, just outside of Detroit. It's right by where the Magic Bag is, where we do our Who Are These Podcasts show. Well, Eminem has a studio there. I love that he makes his music in Detroit. I wish he actually made music that sounded good, but he doesn't. It's a perfect opportunity for me to say that he is probably, I don't know how he did it. Maybe it's white privilege. I have never heard a shittier artist in my life be so successful. I've tried to listen to it. It's shit. The latest pile of shit he put out, the whole album is he's making fun of Christopher Reeve for some reason. Not that I have a problem with making fun of people. It's just like, who's talking about Christopher Reeve? Anyway, the guy who worked there, he hijacked a bunch of songs, and then he made them available on the internet. And people were paying him for this music that had never been released with no intention of being released. So instead, if you're a fan who likes the shitty stuff from Eminem that you buy when he comes out with a stupid release, you could get even more shitty music from this guy. Well, it became known that the shitty music was out there, that someone actually had stolen the music. So the Eminem reported it, and the FBI got involved. They were able to identify, and they were able to locate multiple individuals that had purchased the hijacked music. And the FBI went to them and said, hey, where did you get this? You either tell us or you're going to be charged of receiving stolen property. So they ratted the guy out. More than 25 songs were stolen from password-protected hard drives in those studios, Eminem Studios, between October 2019 and January 2020. Strange worked for Marshall Mathers at that time. An attorney representing the dude who stole the music said that the, quote, untested allegations, end quote, have not been vetted by a grand jury or a judge. Well, that's not saying much. That's not an unequivocal denial. That's basically saying, yeah, whatever. Grand jury, they gotta weigh in. Strange is charged. They might not need a grand jury if the evidence is overwhelming, asshole. Strange is charged with 1 count of copyright infringement of shitty music and 1 count of interstate transportation of stolen shitty music. The copyright infringement charge carries a penalty up to 5 years in prison and a fine of $250,000. Wow. The transportation charge carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. Yeah, they're going to throw the book at this guy. You don't fuck around with Eminem. I still can't believe the story I heard about how frugal Eminem is. When I was at my Charity Scam Mike's daughter's wedding reception, his rich buddy let him use his place as the place where they have the party. And right next door to Rich Guy's house that we were at, Eminem's daughter lives there with her husband. This was right at the time that that they announced that Eminem's going to be a grandpa, which he might even be by now. I don't know. I'm sure we'd see a news story about it. But to this day, the very first year that an Escalade was made, he bought one, Eminem. And he still has it. That's his everyday driver. A 1999 Cadillac Escalade. And it looks like a 1999. Like, it doesn't look great. You got one of the richest artists in the world driving a that old of a vehicle. And Charity Scam Mike's buddy Kevin says that he has interacted with him from time to time, and the dude lives so within his means, it's remarkable. And I guess the story goes, he is petrified of being poor. It fucked him up when he was younger and he had to live in a rough environment that he kind of never shook it. He was so used to living below the poverty line that now he's got the cheddar and he's still the same guy. I love his personality. I think he's wonderful. I think he comes off as just a thoughtful, caring, loving individual. I have nothing but excellent things to say about him. If I were with Eminem, I would say you're a gem of the community. You know that, don't you? Like, people look up to you for a lot of things. You're really, really great. I can't say that I've had a bigger issue with this, rectifying the fact that I despise your music. It's horrible. But you are just salt of the earth. You're a wonderful human being, except for making fun of Christopher Reeve. No, I would probably do that too. That's kind of on brand for him. He loves poking the bear, which I can't fault him for that. So I respect the effort. I respect the achievement, but my ears and my soul hate what you make. I hate it. It's so bad. Outside of arms are ready, knees weak, arms steady, whatever. There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom spaghetti, that song. I like that. I like his acting, that movie he was in. I like that. I like this might be a job for me. Feels so empty without me. That da 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 da. But even that is like small doses. Corey says he wears a G-Shock watch. It's a $100 watch. Other rappers wear $20,000 to $100,000 watches. Aram suggests, sounds like Eric likes most things. Clarification, please, which is usually what I have to say after you read a comment. I said I like 2 songs. That's all. He has about 100,000 songs, idiot. 2 songs that I can live with. You go to any of his albums, and if you put it on and I'm in the room, I'm leaving the room. He's silly. It's nonsense. Does this make me sound old? Is that what I'm getting at here? Am I just using this as an opportunity to sound like an old asshole? Corey says some of them are pretty funny. Yeah, I'm not interested in having a chuckle fest when I'm listening to music. I don't listen going ha 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 ha. If I want that, I'll listen to fucking Dr. Demento or Weird Al or Bob Rivers, who I just found out died. Did you know that Bob Rivers passed away? Walking around in women's underwear. I am Santa Claus. Radio legend Bob Rivers passed earlier this month. I just found out about it from the Drew Lane podcast. Aram says Eric went on for 3 minutes about everything he likes about Eminem and sums it up with he doesn't like anything about Eminem. That's not true at all. I said I like his personality. I like all the things he does for the community. I don't like his content he makes. That's what I said, you stupid Armenian Indian dumb fuck. You can't help it. You are the single biggest pain in my ass in the audience. Everybody else can bust my balls. You can't because you don't do it well. You're the worst at it. Everybody else is acceptable, and I can laugh along with it. You doing it, it never makes sense. How do you do that? You have managed to get into my brain that way. If you were here, I would punch you in the nose. All right. All right. Anyway, that guy's in trouble. All right. Patreon happens a little bit later on. We have another school teacher and an entire school that's in trouble. This one's a tangled web. And the school involved is a very, very famous high school. I'm going to guess that the folks in the chat can guess what high school this incident that I'm going to describe on Patreon happened in. Should I say famous, but more like infamous high school? The most infamous high school in America. What high school could I possibly be talking about? I'm curious if any of you can figure that out. Megan nails it. So does Cole. Columbine. Columbine High School is embroiled in an incident. Those are words you don't want to see combined. Columbine and incident. There's a metaphorical slaughter going on at Columbine High School right now. A teacher is in hot water. The administration is in hot water. A mom is furious with the school. Not since Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris were mad at the school has a person been so mad at Columbine High School. I will explain to you what's going on the Patreon bonus podcast. Coming up a little bit later on, I do a Patreon podcast that follows this show every single day. Second podcast every day. We usually go 30 to 40. patreon.com/Eric Zane. Sign up for 7 days free. It's a good time. Patreon.com/Eric Zane. I just realized I kept this show going on Facebook and YouTube the whole day. Oh, well. Or the whole show. Before we wrap up, we do have to get to the asshole of the day. Before I do that, though, and if you have any nominations, by all means, leave them here. If you're looking for something fun to do in West Michigan, I suggest TC Paintball. Gather up your friends and head over to TC Paintball. Their website is tcpaintballgr.com. Book an event today for you, your pals, bachelor party, kids in the neighborhood, sons, daughters, you name it. Wednesdays, they have a youth league. And not only that, you can book time for any type of event that you have. Maybe some workplace team building. Perhaps it's just hanging out with the guys. They do it all at TC Paintball. Sign up at tcpaintballgr.com. All right, you're going to watch me reach for my dry erase marker with my foot. That's tcpaintballgr.com. There's a basketball game tomorrow. It's a Saturday noon start. NBAGrandRapids.com for the Grand Rapids Gold. Always a good time. You'll love it. Of all these sporting things that I announce, it is my favorite. Hands down, the most entertaining sport that you can see in person, in my opinion, is basketball. And I don't watch the NBA. I don't watch anything, really, these days. And the G League is fucking great. I think that the drop-off in skill from NHL hockey to AHL hockey is a certain amount. And I think that the drop-off in skill from the NBA to the NBA G League is less. That's how good the talent is in the NBA G League. Absolutely outstanding. It's Batman Day tomorrow, so the kids will love that. Pick up tickets for as low as $12. NBAGrandRapids.com. It's time for the asshole of the day. Bob writes, people fucking with Teslas. I have to be more specific. Molly says it's you for sure. Easy nonsense. It's Stevie and Rebecca for supporting terrorism. Terror lovers, Stevie and Rebecca, are assholes of the day. Brought to you by TC Paintball. Rebecca is excited about this. Ladies and gentlemen, as usual, you've been an outstanding audience. Even Aram. But I'm going to leave it right there. That is my time on this show, the Eric Zane Show Podcast. Talk to you on Patreon. Have a good one, folks. Till next time. Bye-bye.